Hey everyone, it's your nerdy dad. Welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since I've posted anything here. Had some things come up in life, things come up at work, and since there's really only about 5 people that watch these anyway on a good day, I just decided, this is something, a hobby that I can leave on the side for the time being. But I'm back. I wanted to come back and play the Mass Effect Legendary Edition that was released a few weeks ago, but again, life happened, life got in the way, and I've not been able to make that yet, although I definitely will. Mass Effect is one of my favorite game franchises. Probably a close second is the Elder Scrolls, the Skyrim, and those like that. But I really, really, really like the storytelling and the overarching decisions that you can make in a BioWare RPG. Again, kind of like some of the traditional Fallouts. But this video is not a gaming video. This video, I decided to sit down and make it, and this is probably the third time I've tried to record this because of various technical issues. It's almost like someone doesn't want this video out there, but I'm going to power through anyway and put it out there. But this video is a result of me seeing a video from Genetically Modified Sceptic. It was put into my recommendations, probably for some of the other types of these videos that I've watched. And a lot of the things that he said in this video it really struck a chord with me for many reasons, a lot of them personal, a lot of them just in society at large. And I get to talk about politics and religion all in one convenient package. The two subjects you're not really supposed to broach here, but we're going to anyway, because it really resonated with me just on a couple of levels. And again, we'll get into those. So I'm going to play excerpts, or an excerpt actually, from Drew's video, Christian Apologist Impersonates an Atheist, and Atheist Responds. I've linked the full video down in the description. I really suggest that you go watch this, whether or not you're an atheist, whether or not you're a Christian. It's a good commentary on life and on society. And it's a bit of a long one. It's about a 47-minute video, but I really think it's worth it. So I hope Drew doesn't mind me borrowing a good chunk of his video and making transformative works of it to stay within fair use. So I'm going to start off his video here, and of course I'll interject with my sage insight as we go along.
Here, Sean discusses a time he role-played as an atheist at a Christian camp. As I discuss this, we should acknowledge the societal context in which all of this is taking place. This high school is in the southern U.S., which is an area culturally dominated by conservative, usually Protestant, and in some places evangelical Christianity. The southern U.S. is also where I grew up, where I live currently, and where most of my experiences of interactions between Christians and atheists have taken place. This is a place where atheists are a minority who often experience marginalization, given that our families, neighbors, teachers, bosses, and elected officials are often conservative Christians who tend to have uninformed and extremely negative views of atheists. Too often, entire families turn on their atheist loved ones here. Sometimes we get illegally fired from our jobs for not believing in God, and nothing is done about it. This is not Western Europe. For a lot of us, it sucks to be an atheist here.
In a lot of cases, he's hit the nail right on the head, especially that comment about elected officials. I live in the southern United States as well. You can probably tell by my accent. It does come through every so often. It's funny, I record computer training videos, and one of the words that I have to use quite often is environment. But if I'm not very careful and pronounce it correctly, it comes out as environment. Which, yeah, I'm an uneducated redneck, so sue me. But he mentions elected officials, and you know what? If you don't profess some sort of faith, if you don't say, oh, I go to this church and I'm a Bible-believing Christian, I think this is how it should be, you just won't get elected in the state that I'm in. And, he's absolutely right. A lot of times you can't truly be honest with everyone around you, who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, just because a lot of times you're your family, your friends will just refuse to associate with you anymore.
Well, when it was done, students surrounded me for a while because they had a ton of questions. And this girl waited till everybody was gone. And she came up to the front. She was 17 years old, she told me. And she goes, "Thank you for doing your best to defend atheism." I was like, "Sure, why are you thanking me?" She goes, "Well, I'm an atheist." I said, "Really? You're at a Christian camp? That's great you're here. How did you get here?" She said, "Well, I am a leader in my youth group." I said, "I feel like I'm missing something here." She said, "I grew up in the church. I can't remember if she went to Christian school or not, Christian family. I've been told this stuff my whole life. I started to realize I have questions, and my parents and family, they just deflected my questions. I started to realize I don't believe this anymore." I said, "Well, have you told anyone?" She said, "You're the first person I've told." I said, "Why haven't you told anyone else?" And I'll never forget what she said. She said, "Because I'm afraid they'll treat me like they just treated you."
Sean hits the nail on the head here. For those that may not know, this is Sean McDowell. He is a Christian educator and a Christian speaker. I think I've gone to probably some of his rallies when I was a teenager, or maybe a relative of his. Since he seems to be about the same age as me, so maybe not. But I've gone to these same type of rallies before and these same type of talks. I grew up in the church since before I can remember. The 40-something years I've been on the planet, I've been attending church, and church plays a big part in people's lives in the South for some of the reasons that we've mentioned before. But he hits the nail right on the head here. You can't truly come out because you don't want to be treated badly. And again, I've got a whole other diatribe here after all of this, but just keep this in mind as we go forward in this video.
And I was like, oh my goodness. I don't think we realize as Christians, the stories we tell, the attitudes we have, the jokes we laugh at, what it often communicates to people who are not believers. So I just want you to reflect upon this. I have no stake in this game. Maybe you don't believe in God, but if you were not a believer in God and you were watching this, what would your impression of Christians be? That's worth asking. Christians are thoughtful, they're patient, they're gracious, they love atheists, or would it be something else?
To many of my viewers, hearing a Christian apologist actually acknowledge the pain an atheist has had to endure because of the behavior of Christians is probably shocking. For me, this is a first. Never have I heard an apologist, which I don't know personally, even allude to the idea that atheists might struggle to be open or feel belittled or even hated because of how Christians treat them. In fact, when I've brought up these issues from my platform, those in apologetic circles have more often than not laid the blame of atheist poor treatment in real life at our feet, citing mean anonymous YouTube comments, or accused me of playing the victim for attention. While I don't think apologists are trying to be hateful, their lack of consideration for how Christians often treat atheists and how that leads to trauma for many of us in our personal lives is woefully apparent. That lack of consideration for, or even denial of, our experiences can certainly feel like hatred. Like the girl in Sean's story, when I became an atheist in a Christian community, I didn't tell anyone for over a year, and when I finally did, it started a series of pretty bad experiences. I was bullied as a kid for being short and kind of nerdy, but none of that compared to the treatment I received as an adult after I came out as an atheist in my Christian community. However, because the treatment I received was nowhere near as bad as many other atheists I came to know, I decided to speak out on this publicly in hopes of showing other atheists that they're not alone and they're not crazy.
So, I won't go so far as to say I'm an atheist. There's been experiences in my life that have honestly kind of pushed me away from the church, especially here recently. For those that may not know, I have two transgender sons, two transgender children. And it's been a struggle because, again, it kind of wars with my own personal religious beliefs, the way that the way that the kids were brought up. And, first of all, I want to say right out at the beginning, if y'all are watching, I am not ashamed of them. I am not ashamed of my kids. I am proud of the people that they've become. I am proud that they can stand up for what they believe and not back down in the face of just overwhelming odds and overwhelming pressure. And it really heartens me. That being said, a lot of times I find it difficult to tell others that I know that, yeah, I've got a transgender kid, and this person that was born female now wishes to go by different pronouns and have a different name. Because, again, a lot of the religious people in my communities and a lot of religious people in my family would just kind of look at me like, Lord, what did you do wrong? What did you do raising them wrong? And it makes me uncomfortable. Again, not ashamed of them, not belittling them, but I can only imagine what they've gone through. I mean, yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. Big whoop, they're actively discriminated against in some walks of their life. But, if it does that little bit for me, what can it do for them? I mean, this church, this body of believers, going to discriminate against someone based upon an immutable characteristic of who they are. And I say that because my views on this have changed over the past few years. I used to believe it was a choice. Oh, yeah, they're just, choosing to be gay. And then it kind of realized two things. One, I never had to make a choice. It was never a question for me whether I was sexually attracted to men or sexually attracted to women. No question at all in my mind. But also, especially in the very conservative South, who would choose to be belittled? Who would choose to be discriminated against? It's just ridiculous the way that some people are treated. And whether you're a believer, whether you're not a believer, it's time to step back and look. Is this how Jesus would want me to act? And luckily, I think I've found a body of believers that can accept people as they are. And let the Holy Spirit guide them, because I have my own beliefs on things, but it's not my place to tell other people how to live their life. It's not my place to make these kind of decisions for my children, especially now that they're grown up. It's kind of odd to call them children when, one of them is old enough to drink. But it's difficult, and I just want other people to know that, think about the way you act. Think about the kind of things that you say. Yes, you have your beliefs. Yes, I know all of the Bible verses. Again, been in the church 20, 30, 40 years. But there's some things here lately that just, it makes me question whether I'm on the right side. And, I've never really admitted this to anyone. I guess the cat's out of the bag now. No telling what the repercussions of this might be if anyone I know actually watches it. But hopefully we can use this to grow and become better people and better society all around. At any rate, I'm glad you joined me on this video. Next time, hopefully we won't talk about politics and religion all in one convenient package. And hopefully next time it'll be a lot more lighthearted and I'll have a game to play. At any rate, I want to thank you for joining. I just want you to know that if you're out there and you are struggling through anything, just know you are important, you matter to people. If you need anyone to talk to, if nothing else, I'm here. Feel free to send me a DM. At any rate, I'm your nerdy dad. Have a wonderful day.